Fatsona Breakout started as just an idea. In early 2020, I wanted to make a fan game featuring Persona characters gaining weight. It was going to be a Tetris-style game where, as you complete the Tetris level, a character off to the side will gain weight throughout it. This would eventually evolve into me wanting to tell stories featuring these weight gains, and me realizing it would be best to split the gameplay and the narrative. And as I kind of reassessed my coding prowess, I realized a Breakout style game would be a better way to deliver that gameplay, and separating it from a more visual novel format would be the way to go. So with these two fundamental ideas, by late 2020, I started to seriously plan Fatsona Breakout, and by February of 2021, I had announced it to the world, and that is when I seriously started working on the game. When I announced it, there was actually nothing for the game. I had not built a playable demo of the game. I had only drawn concept art for the game. There was no official graphics made, and all I really had to go off of were plans and a logo and a lot of aspiration for the project. Fast forward over a year later to version 0.4 of the game. This is when I added the first character weight gain story with Mathiel. Additionally, in this update, I also had Haru's first social event playable, and really the game was starting to take shape at this point. Following version 0.4 was version 0.5, 8 months later in January of 2023. This had Haru Kumura's full weight gain story and a ton of polish. I really wanted this to feel like the first glimpse at what the final project would be, and I think it did pretty well with that. The reason why I'm kind of giving this brief history of Fatsona Breakout is to illustrate something. I announced Fatsona Breakout in February of 2021, and version 0.4 came out in July of 2022. Version 0.5 came out in January of 2023, and Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 will be coming out in June of 2024. That is almost the same gaps of time, and I feel the project has developed 3 times as much in between version 0.5 and Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1. I want to talk about this update, the development of this update, and the future of Fatsona, because I have never been more stoked for a project in my life, and I've been working so goddamn hard on this. I just want to talk about it, man. Now, for starters, February 22nd was the intended release date for Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1. I mentioned this in my November update of last year, but this was while I was working on the hack weight update, Take a Bite, and I intended that to come out at the end of November. It ended up taking until December, so I kind of had lost a month of development that I had expected to work on Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1. And December was also a very critical time for Fatsona because I had just finished Persona 4, and with my second-hand man kit, we kind of went crazy with the story for Fatsona. Up until that point, the main plotline didn't really tell a story. It was kind of in the background and just served as an ending for the game, kind of just to, you know, attach character stories onto and whatnot, but it wasn't really a story. When I completed Persona 4, I realized that this is a Persona fan game, and I really wanted to tell a story. And given that this game was expected to be like a 20 to 30 hour game, I thought that not having a story to kind of justify that time would really suck. So we came up with so much new characters, so much new exciting stuff, and this has led to so much just rapid developments and rapid ideas, and just absolutely a bonfire was set with inspiration and love for this project. December really changed the course of this project's history forever. It is very guilty for why this update has taken so long, because I really wanted to put a lot of that heart and a lot of that vision into this coming update, into Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1. Had it not been for December, probably would have been out by now. But the game is so much better for it, and I kind of want to talk about why. So, Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 will feature Anne's full weight gain story. It is incredibly dynamic, it's incredibly fun, it's longer than Haru's story, so over an hour. Additionally, there's Chihiya's weight gain story, which is a character story that is kind of later on in the progression of the game, though it's done now, so we're putting it out now. It's a very, very fun story. This was also written by Kitshock, and this one is also longer than Haru's story as well. So combined, these are like extra 3 hours of Fat-Fatish story content. But in addition to this, Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 also has 9 new hangout events with Haru, Chihaya, and Anne. And hangout events are a whole new social system which allows you to spend more time with characters whose story you've completed. In the final game, there will be these allotted downtime segments where you can choose to take any of your completed characters out to a certain place in Tokyo and just get some more character moments, get some more fetish action. It's just a really good time. There's some really, really good hangout events in this upcoming build, and yeah, it just adds a lot to the game. It adds a whole other level. And speaking of adding a whole other level, teammates did not exist until December. Now, teammates have become a pretty important part to Fatsona, not just on the narrative side, but on the gameplay side as well. Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 features 2 teammates, Bethial, who you all already know, but her being a teammate gives her a lot more screen time and a lot more content, and a brand new character, Nim. Nim is a very important character to Fatsona Breakout, and she is an absolute blast. All teammates in Fatsona Breakout have a few special abilities that modify the way you play the game, as well as some very special interactions that you could have with them. Nim doesn't have a weight gain story in the same way that other characters do, and this will be true as well for other future teammates that'll be added, but teammates will get their own story and narrative moments in the game going forward. Speaking of gameplay changes, every character no longer only has 4 levels. They each all have 12 levels, with one of those being a very unique special boss fight, individual to each character. This adds a lot more dynamic gameplay to the game, and again justifies the insanely long time that players will spend playing this game. The gameplay portion of the game just feels so much more substantial now, and a lot more fun. It's just so much more fun, especially these boss fights. It's just, there's so much more going for the gameplay side. Each of these features are really jam-packed. There's a lot more little stuff that I could talk about, but it would make the video way too long. What I'm trying to say is that Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 is just a completely different game from Fatsona Breakout version 0.5, and I am just so satisfied with how this project has developed. Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 will be coming out in June, and it'll be on itch and Patreon in a similar way that Hackweight is. Now, what's cool about having multiple projects on Patreon is that you could pay $10 and get access to both projects. This essentially doubles the value of the tier, and I'm always looking for ways to give people more bang for their buck when it comes to this kind of thing. So when Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 comes out, that tier will be absolutely loaded, though you will still have the option to buy it on itch if you're not a fan of the subscription model kind of stuff, or you're not very interested in having Hackweight installed for some reason. I don't know, it's pretty good. But with this update, a lot of it has been focused on foundational things, such as the new Hangout system, the new Manor system, the new Teammate system, the new Bosses system. These are a lot of new systems, and a lot of work has been put into making those systems. So, future alpha builds are geared towards exploiting the work that I've already done. And hopefully that means that there won't be over a year-long gap in between this and Alpha 2. Because Alpha 2 has some really, really awesome stuff planned for it. We're going to be adding 3 new character stories: Futaba's story, Kawakami's story, and Shiho's story. Shiho's story is a story that I would like to call the end of Act 1 for Fatsona Breakout. Now, this is kind of confusing, because Kawakami and Chihiya's story both take place after Shiho's story in the main progression of the game, so it may be a little confusing to see the bigger picture as these alpha builds roll out, but I'm sure it will all make more sense as the time kind of comes. Now, the stuff that makes Shiho's story important enough to be considered an act I'm going to keep on the down low for now. But it is very, very exciting stuff. There's going to be some awesome shit going on in Alpha 2. And I am already looking so forward to it. In addition to all this, Fatsona Alpha 2 will also feature at least one new teammate. I'm hoping to get Fatsona Alpha 2 out before the end of the year, but I don't have a very good track record at keeping my release dates, so we're gonna just have to hope on that. But Fatsona Alpha 1 has really allowed itself to kind of be the back pedal that future builds can go off of, because there's just so much stuff laid down for this game now. As I mentioned before, this game will be monumental. I'm estimating it will be a 40-ish hour game, with character stories admittedly taking up most of that, but still having a lot of gameplay content, a lot of dynamic main storylines, a lot of awesome side content. I want it to feel like a very professional and finished product. We are working hard every single day to get to that vision and to kind of hit the mark. And to that end, I want to show off one of the vocal tracks that we had made for this update. Fatsona Breakout will feature multiple vocal tracks, along with such a stacked and awesome soundtrack that I'm so excited to share. I am taking this game very, very seriously. It is going to be a big deal. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thank you guys for all the support. Be on the lookout for Fatsona Breakout Alpha 1 coming in June. And without further ado, here is See For Yourself.
I mean, nice job.